Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out 2-sentence horror. Story 1. I finally finished my invention that allowed my eyes to instantly adjust to the dark. I threw it in the garbage 2 minutes later, when I saw faces in the dark staring at me, before slowly disappearing. Story 2. I sighed in relief as I recited the scriptures correctly just like Father taught. Good job. Now, remove your pants and we'll let you all pass, the mob leader barked as my stomach dropped and the crowd closed in. Story 3. Horrified by the miscarriage of my 4-month child, I left the mess on the floor and went to sleep. When I woke up, the fetus was gone and my cat was licking her lips. Story 4. The vaccination went well. I didn't see any reaction at all. So, is my skin supposed to turn back to normal now? I asked one of the doctors, who just looked disappointed and shouted next. Story 5. As the doctor began tightening the blood pressure cuff around Sarah's arm, he suddenly paused. He gently touched the scar on her neck from the home invasion 3 years ago and whispered, "I knew there was something familiar about you." Story 6. My little sister and I awoke to the sounds of Santa putting our presents under the tree, so we excitedly rushed downstairs hoping to catch him in the act. Halfway down the stairs we saw Santa on his back, frothing blood from the mouth, writhing in agony, and speaking in an unknown language as demons clawed and chewed through his rib cage. Story 7. The increasing summer heat must have affected my perception. It makes it seem like the sun is growing. Story 8. I wince as I change the bandage on my finger and fight a wave of nausea when I glimpse the white curve of exposed bone. Still, I think, admiring the gorgeous nail set on my remaining fingers, one knuckle is a small price to pay for a lifetime of perfect manicures. Story 9. I was so proud of my wife for overcoming her eating disorder and getting herself to a healthy weight. But as the number on the scale continued to rise, so did my disgust, so I had to say something. Story 10. My wife was so excited to try out her fancy new tea set and made me some kind of exotic imported brew. I didn't care for the bitter almond taste, but I didn't want to disappoint her, so I drank it all with a smile. Story 11. When I heard the 7 trumpets, I knew Jesus was here to save us. But once I heard the 8th trumpet, I realized it wasn't Jesus or the devil. Story 12. I stare at the moon basking in its beauty. As I stare, I can't help but wonder if the humans figured out what the moon really is yet. Story 13. After continuously confusing ourselves while camping for 2 days due to lacking prior experience, my friend and I decided to head back home from the unnamed mountain ranges. And I'm definitely hallucinating because of exhaustion, because that dark slender figure on the back seat is not her. Story 14. As I hiked the mountain with my child to my chest, I admired the beautiful sunset. It's somewhat nice that this'll be the last thing me and my newborn daughter see before falling to our deaths, to get rid of that damned curse my mill told me she gave me and any other woman born in this family. Story 15. The church bells keep them at bay. But my arm's strength is slowly fading. Story 16. I knew it would only be a matter of time before I caught her eye. She knew it would only be a matter of time before I took her other one. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 17. As I slid my rook to the H file, I was happy I finally delivered checkmate. A sense of dread washed over me as I realized that this marked the last match for my adversary from North Korea. Story 18. I smiled at the little girl I had lured away from her friends. Her smile in return contained far too many teeth. Story 19. With Thanksgiving around the corner, every kid is excited for the days off of school and celebrating the town festival. I'm just worried this year I will draw the short straw and become one of the missing during the feast. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 20. For 7 days God tried desperately to make man in his image. For 7 days, the two-eyed figure smiled back mockingly with each attempt. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 21. My wife says I always shut others out. She's right, but there's only enough food in the bunker for 2 of us. Story 22. DEC-23 I was thrilled to find the double doors when my attacker was chasing me. Unfortunately, they led only to a brick wall. Story 23. You can't do this, I inherited that house and everything in it, I screeched, fighting against the cop holding me back. As another stretcher was wheeled out, I prayed they would miss even one so Grandpa's hard work wouldn't go to waste. Story 24. She screamed for her friends to wake up. She couldn't notice that she was the only one not awake. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 25. I felt stronger, faster and hungrier than I've ever felt before. It wasn't until I bit down on my friend's neck that I realized the terrible truth. Story 26. The man screamed in absolute horror at what he found. It was a POO that was pooed in the middle of the book. Story 27. It was hot, so very hot. I pulled off my jacket and watched the snow fall around me, oblivious as my fingers started to turn blue. Story 28. I live in a small neighborhood and every night there's a time where the crickets don't chirp. Tonight when they stopped, I grabbed my shotgun when I heard the knocking. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 29. The child asked with wonder what the man from the future was here to do. The terror in the boy's eyes as the time traveler raised his gun to his face still haunts him. Story 30. As I shined the laser pointer at a hallucination, I was met with a sense of dread when it didn't phase through. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 31. I couldn't see when I regained consciousness after the explosion, but I could feel a strong wind upon my face. Suddenly I noticed that what was once a fierce wind was now a gentle breeze, and with the slow return of my vision I witnessed the last of the army choppers disappearing into the horizon. Story 32. My wife breaks down in tears every time she has to tell someone we lost our child. I hate seeing her like this, almost makes me want to tell her the places I buried him. Story 33. We see you marked organ donor on your driver's license. You'll be coming with us, your local representative needs a transplant and you're a perfect match. Story 34. Nobody knew what sending signals into space would lead to. Regretting our decisions as we were forced on their ships towards their labor camps. Story 35. As I finished up the buttered porridge I had found sitting on an old farming couple's porch, I felt an agonizing pain ripple up my leg. Glancing down I saw a diminutive figure in a pointed red hat biting my leg, and as it dug its teeth deeper into my flesh my skin began to wither away before my eyes. Story 36. I had a dream where I got hit by a train while drunk. Wait, why did I wake up in heaven? Story 37. SCP-23 After a lot of desperate thinking I finally understood I needed 7 silver knives to kill the demon that had taken away my daughter from me. After destroying the demon that called itself Sarah, I said to my daughter, "Don't worry Rachel, you'll no longer feel like you are its wife." Story 38. Having to use the bathroom and sitting on a warm toilet seat isn't a pleasant feeling. Especially when you know you live alone. Story 39. I wished upon a shooting star that children could never die. I didn't think that meant my terminally ill daughter would suffer for 13 more years. Story 40. Which way is up, which way is down? I'm thinking I shouldn't have slept through my classes on flying through storms. Story 41. DEC-23 As my phone chimed midnight I heard the devil gloat. I gave you the gifts and 3 years to the hour but you never wrote your bestseller. I knew he'd take no excuses or deferments, so I solemnly held up the lock screen with my other son's picture and said double or nothing. Story 42. I killed my son and hid his body inside a snowman in the front yard. Imagine my shock and horror when I walked into my house to find my snow-covered son, eating a bowl of chicken noodle soup. Story 43. Caving has always been my biggest passion. As I slid headfirst further down the narrow passage, I realized I would spend the rest of my life doing this. Story 44. I caught insomnia from looking at the moon. I am an altogether different man by day, and I have the power to send that man far away. Story 45. People ask me why I call my room a box. Boxes don't have exits. However, that is exactly my point. Story 46. I took the last pill in the bottle. That's odd, I swear it was full this morning. Story 47. Only a few more stitches to go, my doctor told me after my delivery, you'll be good as new. I've heard of a husband stick, but I never thought there would be 12 of them. Story 48. It was supposed to be a silly prank. We would put 2 boots in a wet cement and maybe give the construction workers a scare. The police have found a body in the cement vat, and my fingerprints are all over his boots. Story 49. DEC 23. On the last day I told my double only one of us is coming out alive. And I tied his umbilical cord around his neck. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 50. My friend suddenly leaves his bedroom when a red light flashes warning me stay here with Lucy because Johnny's gotten out again. Wondering who Johnny is, I leap from my chair when a deformed hand snatches the cat from under the bed. Story 51. Once reincarnation was proved to exist, there were immediately laws created to make sure criminals served every life sentence they had. I thought I'd be fine until the police came knocking. Story 52. As a child, my father taught me a special bird whistle so that we could locate each other in public places. A shiver shot through me as I heard the same sound in the supermarket. Story 53. Vampires don't exist, I told my sister as I tucked her into bed. Then why can't I see your reflection in the mirror, Beth? Story 54. I waved at a cartoon character as a kid. Little did I know I gave them permission to enter my home. Story 55. At my desk I found a notebook containing a year's worth of observations, hypotheses and mention of an experiment between myself and a colleague regarding the strange black crystal in front of me. It concerns me greatly that I cannot recall anything from this year, not the writing of the accounts nor any knowing of the colleague that proposed the experiment. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.